if I say mindfulness, and what does mindfulness, you know, what does that create in your mind as soon as I say that word? It's going to create something different for you than it creates for me, right? Instantly, right?
Yeah, for sure.
When I think of mindfulness, actually the image I always get is doing the dishes, because I hate doing the dishes. So like, if I can do the dishes mindfully, that's like my ultimate challenge, right? I'm not trying to constantly escape from doing it. If I can actually be totally present in the moment while I'm doing that, then I've achieved something. So what do you think?
For me, when I think of mindfulness, I think of doing things in a way that work for me, like instead of just like the way everyone else does it. Like when I call someone on it, I'll say, okay, wait, like they're about to do something, and I'm like, well, wait, why are you going to do this? Is it because your parents told you need to do that, or because you're on autopilot and you're not even thinking about it,
right.
Or is it because this is something you really want for a specific purpose that's going to get you to where you want to go, or that's consistent? So it's really
like
about
checking in with yourself, like self-analysis, and
and it's like
and that's
being aware of what we're doing and why, and making sure it keeps me on the track that I want to be on.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's also just like, think for yourself. Like, honestly, sometimes it's about thinking for yourself instead of letting the world decide what your life, decide even your moment to moment.
Because if you're letting other people's ideas about something or your past decide something for you, then you're not being present, which means you're not being mindful. If you let anything else other than you in the moment decide something for you, then
when it's not going to work for you.
It's not going to work, exactly.
Like, and also when I think about mindfulness, I think about what's going to work for me right now, where I am, what I'm wanting to do, because that changes all the time for me. Like, I change all the time. And I'm, it's like, whatever I'm saying right now is truthful for right this moment. Don't call me on it later. But that's kind of, my point is to keep moving and being in progress and in motion. So
and it's different for every person, right?
Yeah.
And for me, because of the work I do, because of the intuitive work I do, the second thing I always think of when I think of being mindful is, wow, what a great way to boost your intuition. You can't get much better than that. If you're totally present in the moment, then you're going to hear what your intuition says to you. If you're never mindful, you'll miss every single thing your intuition is telling you. You have to be present and listening in order to hear it. It's a constant flow of information, but if you're not mindful, you'll miss it.
So like that, having that stillness so you're available to hear.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean...
like Bodhi's footsteps walking up the stairs in the background.
You're mindful of that. You're listening. It doesn't mean your mind's clear, because let's face it, we're human, our minds will never be 100% clear. It just doesn't work that way.
Actually, you're you're reminding me of a way that I do notice my mindfulness is really powerful and effective and helpful for me, is when I'm mindful of what my body is trying to tell me or screaming at me.
Yeah, totally.
So, yeah, paying attention to that is a form of mindfulness, and it informs me and educates me on what is working or not working.
Yeah, absolutely.
At a particular time.
Yeah,
that's true.
And I've got to say, for me, that mindfulness is probably the most powerful tool I've ever used in my life. The most powerful tool. And if there's anything that I ever suggest to people about how they can get healthier, how they can get more intuitive, how they can get more in touch with themselves, enjoy life more, blah, blah, blah. The list is endless. But it always, for me, always comes back to awareness.
Like paying
approaching
attention.
everything with awareness, which is what we call mindfulness.
Yeah, and like paying attention.
Pay attention to everything. Absolutely everything. And if you do pay attention to everything, it is just absolutely astonishing the amount of information you can extract.
It's so empowering because you have everything.
Endless.
Like, you have everything.
Endless, absolutely.
Yeah, it's really
like
cool.
You have, all the information in the universe at your fingertips.
Although, you know what? Some people, to be honest, a lot of people don't want that information.
Yeah.
So I can see, sometimes, hiding your head in the sand may be a survival tactic sometimes, but but because it's hard to know, like, to be honest,
it is
sometimes having all this information.
Yeah.
But I would rather know and just deal with it rather than not knowing and then wondering and being unsure about my reality.
And that's been me too. I would rather, yes, it can be really hard to hear the truth about yourself. It can be really hard to face the truth about something. But ultimately, I've always chosen that because I don't think there's really any other way.
Well, then you have a choice.
Not for me anyway. At least
then
if
when
you know the truth about something, then you can choose. Do I want that or not? Yes.
And then I can say, well, I know it would be better for me, but you know what? Screw it. Right now, I don't care. But at least I made
you're
that
mindful
poor
of
decision
it.
mindfully.
you're mindful of it.
Exactly.
That's right. If you're gonna go on a bender, at least be mindful of the fact that you're going on a bender, that you're choosing that.
Exactly.
And then you'll be mindful of the repercussions of that.
And you can't blame anyone else. So,
that's right.
That's one of the disadvantages of it. But whatever. Yeah. Well, that's the epitome of mindfulness. Is
totally.
It's, personal responsibility and
it
accountability.
is. And recognizing cause and effect, that's all part of that personal responsibility too. If you're mindful of your choices, then you're also going to be mindful of the effects that your choices have on other people and on the planet and on the world, which is why I think it's the way we are all going to save ourselves.
Well, that's a big thing that came up for me in parenting with my kids is, letting them know, like, when you do this, it's going to affect this and this person's schedule or this person's emotions or this person's or either the planet or whatever it might be, your stomach, your whatever. It has a ripple effect.
It does.
We don't live in a bubble, and so I use that with my kids all the time. I want to be like, did you think about maybe when you do that, what's going to happen?
Exactly. Hey, bud, did you think about what was going to happen when you sniffed that skunk? Yes, that's right.